and welcome to What Would Larry Do? I am Dr. Ann, and I am here with Larry Helwig.
Hello.
Happy December.
It is.
I know.
We're very excited.
I am, actually. I'm excited because it's almost the end of the year and we get some time off.
I'm very excited because, once again, I was a good boy all year. I know I must be getting just tons of presents, so it's a very exciting time.
Oh, my goodness. I bet I have a few things to challenge that fact.
Just an electric bike. That's all I really want.
Okay.
It's a really fast, fancy EB, electric bike.
Okay.
That sounds fun.
All right.
All right.
Well, since it is the holiday season, and we know that most people at this time of year are actually increasing the circumference of their waist,
Yeah.
we're going to kind of talk about some things that we can do to change that for people, because as soon as we jump off into January, you know it's the number one thing. So I would like to introduce Hillary Keller. She is the territory sales manager for Eon, and she's going to be here discussing body contouring, or the new body contouring device that we've just added to our office.
That's right. Thanks, Dr. Ann.
Good. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Hillary.
So my name's Hillary. I've been in the laser industry since 2009. I was a practitioner for a while, and then I became an instructor and was certified to do all the modalities. So I've had my hands in everything, as well as body contouring. And then I'm really excited to hop onto this super new technology that's very exciting.
Good. Good. Well, before we actually start to discuss Eon, I want Larry to give us a little bit of history about where body contouring came from.
Believe it or not, it probably started 200 years ago. The first tummy tuck, if you will, was about 200 years ago, and it actually wasn't for body contouring. It was to heal major open wounds. But guess what? People looked better. You know, it was like, oh, gee, we just tuck this in, pull it, and, you know, do that sort of thing. The wound gets better, but people look better, you know, and it was a beginning. And so I think the thing is that forever people have, you know, how do I get better skin? How do I get rid of hair? How do I add hair? How do I, you know, get rid of fat? How do I, all those kinds of things have been somewhat of a perplexing problem for everyone. And the minute something looks like it works, the manufacturers get all over it. And that would be true in 1975.
Oh, yes, you got it right.
The beginning of liposuction. And I mean, liposuction is worldwide. It's very well known. But when it started out, you know, really pretty rough times in the beginning. And it took the first 5 years before it sort of became a thing where, you know, people knew liposuction. And even then, it was a long ways from where it is today.
Well, it was scary. It was a high risk of death. Well, not high risk of death, but way more dangerous than it is today because of the anesthesia and the blood loss. And
Yeah.
I agree. There was a little bit of Frankenstein stuff going on back then with
And
that.
those cannulas were sticking pipes in people, you know? It was horrible. And so they'd end up with a lot of blood loss. They would have wrinkly, you know, when they're done, very wavy skin, not even, not smooth. So, you know, that was how it all started. But, you know, now lipo is huge, you know, worldwide. But there are those people who don't want lipo. It's still considered a surgical procedure, which, of course, you know, there are people doing it under local, tumescent, if you will, and just low on the medications. So, you know, they can do that in office. But there are also bigger surgical cases. Doing a lot of areas, you know, at one time. And so it's still considered a surgical procedure, and that's why it's in the hands of physicians, you know, in an OR 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 type setting.
Yeah.
And so, you know, but there are people who, you know, would prefer not to have that surgical type procedure, even though, you know, the risk for lipo is so small now. And most people do turn out real well, and there's been a lot of success with it. So, you know, we had it in our office for what? How many years? What, 3?
Yeah, a while.
Yeah, we did it for about 3 years, and liked it, you know, and all that. But you know, we really found that the age of non-surgical procedures is just growing, you know, because the technology is getting better and better. And so I think that's really where we are today. Is a lot of non-surgical, and the plastic or cosmetic surgeon can still do it non-surgically. So then they have a choice. A patient doesn't want one, they can do the other. And
Yes,
I think that's
right.
really smart for an office to be able to offer both, and then it's up to the patient to decide. But what comes to our office are not surgical candidates. They know we don't do surgery, so what else do you have? And I remember, I don't know when the Accent came out, but Alma Lasers came out with the Accent many years ago. I bought 2 of them, and it was radio frequency. It was unipolar, and then they had a bipolar handpiece for skin tightening, but it was unipolar to kill fat. And J.D. McCoy and I would give these advanced workshops, and J.D.'s been on podcasts before, so for those of you who know him. And we'd do these advanced workshops, and it was great. And we'd do mesotherapy on these patients, and then immediately follow with Accent, and we were killing a lot of fat. And that was the beginning. And there's all kinds of ways, to kill fat, like mesotherapy. And so you can inject things. There's radio frequency, which there's lasers that we're about to talk about that we're very excited about, having added.
Cryolipolysis.
So we've all heard about cool sculpting.
Yep. Yes,
The
we
good, the bad, the ugly.
Yes.
have. Yes, we have.
So, my favorite. But anyway, cool sculpting was very, very good for the industry because it opened it up.
Yeah.
They got people talking about, I can do fat.
They spent so much in marketing
Yeah.
and really bringing such a huge awareness to the public of what was available that is something actually that they did very, very well.
I agree. They did so much consumer marketing that the patient would come in asking for that name specifically, which hadn't happened that much before.
Yep.
I want hair removal. I want a photofacial, but not necessarily a brand name.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So it was kind of fun for the people in the business. So even though I never had that device, I got business because of that device being out there. And that's still true today.
Sure.
So the companies that are out there, BTL is a company that has the M-Sculpt and does things like that, which we can kind of roughly talk about, but they have done a lot of marketing.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
that helps everyone as well.
Well, and that's the high-fem technology, which is even a whole different category.
Exactly. So then you're talking about electromagnetic technology combined with radio frequency. So there's been so many things that have come out, and just radio frequency, you could probably name 4, 5, 6 different systems for it. You could have fat removal with a little system called Agnes, for small areas for fat,
right.
and then you've got bigger systems. Well, we've been very excited because we've added a technology to what we have, and it's called Eon, and that's why you're here today. So
That's why I'm here.
we're excited about it, and we've gotten to play with it, and we've started treating patients with it, and we had it in an open house event, and it did very, very well. And so, of course, it's exciting. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, Eon's very exciting because what people were trying to achieve when cryolipolysis came out, the opposite is laser lipolysis, right? Doing the heat. But no one had been successful in getting the adipose tissue, the fat tissue, hot enough while keeping the surface of the skin cool enough successfully. So there were burns and there were this and there were that. So no one got to that point.
Right.
And that's why cool sculpting took over, right? So Eon actually has achieved that with a proprietary impingement jet cooling system that was developed by NASA. It's very exciting. So it is successful in keeping the surface of the skin while delivering a 1064 nanometer laser into the fat tissue and melting it. It's heating it up to 51 degrees. It's keeping the surface of the skin cool. And what's most important and most exciting about it is a robot that is doing it.
That's exactly. I was just about to say.
I'm getting there. I'm
going to be like the nerdy consumer who's like, but it's actually a robot.
It
like,
is actually a robot.
We have the Eon lasers pictures 1 and 2 to pop up that shows this device where it is very cool that it literally is a robotic arm.
It's a robotic arm.
So that for me, the first time I saw it, I was like, that's one of the coolest things about this that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
There's one of the devices. So that's
there's-
what the device looks like. I feel like it looks like Robbie the robot.
Right.
But it's got his robotic arm. See, there's that
right.
arm that's over there on the side. And then we also have an Eon product video that we're going to pop up that's going to show this device in action.
Good, because that's what really packs a punch. You have to see it.
My goodness. And I was like, even though I'm the science nerd, when we're talking about this, I want to know what what wavelength it is, here we go. Here's the video that's going to start, and that it's getting to the proper temperature.
Right.
I think this is one of those really sexy factors, as Larry likes to say, that when the consumers see this in action, and that's when we just did our Black Friday open house, we had this as a display in that other room so patients could come in and every single person who saw it would see, look at that, it's not even touching.
It's completely touchless. There's no mess, no fuss, no suction, nothing like that. It's not hard on the practitioner, the person who's doing it, which is huge when it comes to body contouring.
Yep.
So you can see it just hovering over her abdomen.
Yes.
And what's so fascinating about it is not only is it robotic, but there are 42 smart sensors in the head of the robot, right? So it's constantly measuring the surface of the skin temperature, the distance away from the skin, the temperature of the adipose tissue itself, and so on and so forth. And when you start the machine, it actually takes a topographical map of the area that you're treating so that it is truly customized and perfect for that person's abdomen.
That is extremely impressive.
And you can have different sizes, correct?
Of course, right.
So, you might have a small little pocket area that you want to get rid of.
That's right.
Or I'm even thinking raw fat.
Absolutely.
We're not FDA there yet.
We're getting there. It is just right there. Right now, we're full abdomen and flanks, but I've been told the paperwork is in. They just, the FDA doesn't move so fast, so it's coming.
Well,
Go ahead.
Well, I'm excited because when you have different size areas and the device goes over the area and determines, its shape and it's all of those important things, and then it just does it. So you don't have to do anything. Right. And how much fat are we killing?
Between 20 and 25% in the treated area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about that. 20 to 25% fat loss. So all of you who do what I'm going to do over the holidays, think about that come January because, whoa, you can drop 20, 25% in a treatment of fat. I mean, wow. So this is exciting. And so it's got 42 sensors. Oh, and it is cold. You mentioned that.
Yes, it's cold. So, typically, and in the ones that are using heat right now too, it can get pretty hot and uncomfortable in hot spots. And I've had the treatment myself. I've spoken to many patients that have had it. I know the girls in the office have been getting it.
Yep.
And it is not uncomfortable. I'm never going to claim that anything is painless because that is subjective. But it's comfortable. That cold air is cold. There's a little cool shot boost if you do get a tiny hot spot, so you don't have to stop, reevaluate, move anything, do anything like that. It keeps going. And then also with the robotic head, those sensors, it makes sure that the entire treatment area is getting the same amount of energy. Whereas typically and historically, in body contouring, that depends a lot on the practitioner, that each area is keeping in the same amount of heat.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I know Sciton did something like that with Halo.
Yeah.
And Moxie, and they're actually sampling tissue all the time so that you're always delivering the right amount.
That's right.
It's not too hot, too cool.
So before we get too far along, because you briefly mentioned it at first, but explain exactly how Eon works.
Right. So it's a bulk heating device, right? So you're essentially delivering a 1064 nanometer laser.
Which is that near infrared wavelength.
That's right.
So we know that goes nice and deep.
It does go nice and deep and been proven through the years to achieve apoptosis, so achieve killing the fat cells.
Okay.
And then it delivers the amount of energy as it needs to get to a certain temperature, and then the key is keeping it in that same temperature for the allotted amount of time, which for Eon is 20 minutes per segment. So you want to keep it at that same temperature for that full 20 minutes to achieve the desired result, which is full fat reduction.
And by keeping cooling on the surface, you can deliver more energy to the deep.
That's right, and with zero adverse reactions. So we've had no burns, no hot spots, no lumps, no bumps, nothing.
Yeah, so far everyone's loved it. It's really been amazing. And I think the other thing is, technology is moving in that direction of robotic. If you can do something and it's more consistent and more evenly delivered and not be the old technique where we're really working hard, like crazy to try to keep something to a certain temperature. This is just wonderful.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
Game changer. All right, so 1064 we know is a long wavelength. It does not want to sit on the surface of the skin, so it's going to easily go. So you've got an epidermis that's about 100 to maybe 150 microns at the most. Then you've got papillary dermis that's 100. Then you got into the dermis, which depending on the body area can be all of a millimeter or maybe more on certain body areas, So you're talking about just getting through that to get to the fat, and whether it's the very superficial fat or deeper fat. Once with a 1064, you have no problem getting there.
Right.
It's great. It's colorblind.
I was just about to say, and remember, no one is excluded, right? It is perfectly colorblind, and also with the robotic head, even if it was a darker skin type that was holding on to the heat, the robot is paying attention to that as well. So truly customized per skin type, per shape, per everything.
All right. So I think the idea is we have lots of different technologies out there. What about using it with another technology?
Yeah, so I've said that Eon plays really well in the sandbox with other devices. So I know that y'all have got the M-Sculpt that's doing really well, and I think those two devices in particular work very well together.
Yeah.
Even same day, right? So you do M-Sculpt, and you correct me if you'd like the order the other way, but M-Sculpt to build the muscle, really start toning the area, and then an Eon session to debulk and really start taking the fat out of that area.
Yeah, we're doing it the other way around,
Okay.
but because I think working the area after killing the fat will help to get rid of more
sure,
fat.
that makes sense.
It might be like that. So we're doing it the other way, and then and M-Sculpt is also killing fat, so you're killing more fat and building muscle at the same time. And then we follow with another device called M-Tone for tightening. That is also, it's like acoustic wave. It's targeted pressure to the whole area, which I think also helps eliminate fat a little bit faster, or all the toxins. So I think it's a really, really good combination, but it could be used with other devices.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and while we're talking about the treatment, I have a couple more videos and photos I want to throw up.
Great.
So we'll throw up the Eon arm video so that we can see another video of this guy in action, and then we'll throw up a couple extra photos after that so we can really see what a patient having a treatment is like, because I feel like that's very important for the patients to be able to see and experience what it is, because here's what it looks like as it's popping up. If it's really, going to move on over the patient. So, and then just that active area. So there's those smart sensors and technology, as you were talking about, that it not only maps out the area, but it's actually going to be testing for hot spots, making sure that everything is nice and even.
That's right.
And as we all know, that comes down to, both safety and effectiveness. You want to keep them safe, though they're not getting burns, but you have to get that effective temperature.
You have to achieve it. That's right.
Otherwise, patients are mad if they pay all this money and they don't get any results.
Of course.
So that's where I really like to, allow patients to be able to see what this looks like and, have an idea of what it is. And then we also have a couple photos, the male treatment area and the female treatment area photos, so that we can really talk about the zones that we're going after. And like you said, some of the different smaller ones they're working on for FDA approval,
Yes.
but some of your primary zones, if you're looking at this abdomen and you can see that there's several different zones that we would have to fit, the front stomach and the love handle areas are going to be the primary areas that people are coming in
Of
for.
course, it's 9 times out of 10, right?
And then thighs are always second after that. But you can see for both male and female, there's different ways that we have to target it depending on their size and how big they are. But it's like Larry was saying, it doesn't matter if they're big or small, you can treat anybody, correct?
Well, that's right. And a lot of people ask, well, why can't you do, if it's robotic, why can't you do a larger area or the whole thing at one time?
Yeah.
And it goes back to achieving and keeping
Yes.
that temperature there. So you do need to break it down into those areas so that you can keep that 51 degrees minimum.
Yep, and that's what we've always taught. Anytime we've done radio frequency, it's temperature times time. And you have to get that. And Larry teaches it when he does even just as simple as Excelus or M-tone trainings, that if you stretch an area too big, you actually have to shrink it down and divide it into two areas, because you're not going to be able to effectively keep them at that temperature.
That's right. Yeah.
So in this situation, you could do 2 or 3 areas on a patient all the same day.
Yep.
Each area is 20 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. And no pain.
No pain.
They lay there.
Yeah. It does warm up, right? But it's really pretty comfortable, and you can watch a show, you can do whatever. It's easy. It really is easy.
All right. Well, that's what we have found so far in our clinic. I have not had. Have you? You haven't had a treatment yet, have you?
No, I don't get to do anything.
Oh, you got to get on that.
Yeah.
I wish. If I had time, I would be underneath there.
I think.
I'm going to help experiment with it on different strange areas that are not FDA approved yet.
Absolutely. Oh, one thing I wanted to add too, we were talking about things you could combine with it.
Yeah.
And it's so comfortable that you could essentially combine doing a facial treatment at the same time. So even if you are not doing a secondary body contouring device in the same time, you can utilize that time to achieve something, face, neck, décolleté, what have you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Get more combination work.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about it, and I think the world is excited about it. The patients that came in for Black Friday were very excited about it. And I think everyone was so impressed just watching it. It's like, really?
Yeah.
I mean,
agree.
it's so cool.
When I saw it for the first time, I legitimately stood up and I said, okay, that's cool. You're not seeing much of that yet, so we're coming.
Yeah. No, and I think it's come a long way because, in the past we've seen multiple different kind of devices that didn't actually touch the patient. We had one that was the Vanquisher. We still have it. What was the name of that other one that looked like an octopus?
Oh, yeah.
That didn't really work at all.
Yeah. No, it had all these flashy lights, blinky lights, but it was...
It was basically like LED or something.
Yeah, it was actually made here in Arizona.
I know, and I can't remember the name of it. But that's kind of where this contact device kind of began, and then Vanquish started that and really, kind of took off with it. And originally when we used to teach on that, and it's like you would say you would never tell patients that's not painful, Vanquish used to be one of the only devices I could promise patients in my office that was completely not painful. No. If you did feel something that was too hot, it was wrong.
Okay.
Like it meant that there was something not right in that area.
Sure.
So that was the only one ever, which is this I know might be a little bit different. They might have some sensations and stuff, but still very tolerable compared to some of the other devices. Or like when Larry and he was doing accent, I was doing some of the original Vela shapes back in the day, which were...
I remember Vela shape.
Oh, my gosh. As a practitioner, it was torture.
It's hell. Yeah.
It was...
It's not easy to perform.
Hard.
And then again, there's so much... You get tired, right?
Yeah.
So then you aren't getting the full benefit as you would as, say, a robot.
Yes,
right?
doing it and reading it. And it was so tech dependent that I think the fact that this is a robotic and it has that feedback system. I remember at that point, we could not book a girl more than 2 areas back to back and more than 4 areas in one day because it would just wear them out.
Yes. So I remember saying when I was doing it, I said, I don't want more than 2 a day because I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I was pouring sweat,
Oh, yes. Yeah, I didn't have to do it, but all my techs who were working for me did, and I always felt so bad for them. And then as staff, when you
She booked them anyway.
I did not. I'm the one who helped make the rule for them that they didn't have to do more than 2 areas
job,
back
Dr.
to back.
Ann.
But when you then wanted a treatment as part of the staff, you had to convince somebody to do it to you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you had to pay extra for that.
Yes, like you had to give them some cash because most of us are like, we don't want to do that. Yeah. Either that or you had to find somebody who wanted it so you could swap with them.
Sure.
Because they're like, if you do mine, I'll do yours type thing. Because otherwise it was like, no, I'm tired. I think I'm going to go home.
Now it's pretty much talking them into pushing a button.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It's really different.
They have no excuses.
No. And so anybody's like, I'll put you on the machine. It's the same thing with M-Sculpt though. It's like you could find anybody to set you up on it.
Exactly.
Super easy. And they're like, I'll do that for you.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm excited about the new areas that are coming, and here I am thinking about that, and I haven't even used it on a couple areas that desperately need it that are approved.
Your
So-
Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday.
It's still hanging on.
What do I call it? Your
Yeah. I've had so many, Christmas desserts before Christmas.
oh my gosh.
It's already the candy, all
Of
the
course,
stuff.
well, it's the
And it's
whole
only
month,
December
right?
5th.
I know.
yeah, I know. I got a long ways yet.
Oh my gosh. He always uses this as an excuse to just
It's not my fault.
eat
It's
like
the
a
holidays. What are you
Yeah.
going to do, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Eon. You're going to do Eon.
I'm
That's
going to
right.
do yeah, that's right. We're going to do that. What other areas are they anticipating? Are they working on for FDA? Do you know?
Well, right now they're working on neck down. So anything under the
everything.
neck down. Yeah. So, you got your typical ones, but of course, arms, thighs,
Yeah.
bra line, and what have you. But neck down will be the approval.
I think thighs will be so important because
Yeah.
inner thighs especially
Oh yeah.
are not only such a trouble area, but they're one that does not do well with liposuction.
Yep.
And so for me, that's always been an extremely important non-invasive area because certain liposurgeons I know won't touch inner thighs on patients after a certain age.
Well, it's too lax.
Yeah, it ends up rippled every single time.
Yep.
And I've just seen some come out so bad.
Yeah. I think
So-
this is going to be really good too for what they call the banana, right? Right under the
Banana
butt.
roll,
Yes, I think it'll be great for that because this machine, it has a feathering effect as well. So there isn't this extreme like suction up in there or, the lipo where they say the butt can possibly fall. It'll
Yes.
just be like a gentle reduction in that area. And then Eon does have a feathering effect, right? Because the heat does dissipate around that treatment area. So it does feather well. You don't get these extreme areas. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be good for that as well.
Well, let's pop up some of the before and after photos. So we have a reel of some before and after photos, number 1 through 7. So that way we can really show them some of the results that we're talking about. Sorry, just after Larry coughed, then I choked. So here's some before and afters with abdomen. So you can tell us a little bit about these photos that we've got going up here. So you can see 360, that's a big difference.
Sure. And one thing we haven't said, and this is pretty standard with any lipolysis, laser, or device, is it is a 12-week, right, full result. So we didn't really touch on that, but because we're achieving apoptosis, it does take a little while for the body to filter out all through that.
Which, to be honest, liposurgeons always tell you you're not going to be happy with your results until you're about 12 weeks out. So it's very
Swelling,
consistent. Yes. So good. Another excellent
one's
before
great.
and after abdomen for really flattening that one out. Same thing for that
Also
female
great.
right there.
Yep.
It makes a huge difference for the
that's-
waist,
that's
the
dramatic.
circumference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one as well.
Yeah.
That was just so great. That was the first one.
Yeah. And you know what I really like to remind patients too, a good thing to do is whatever the pair of pants that you would like to wear, put them on and take a picture of yourself
That's
or
a
bring
great
them
idea.
in and let us take a picture of you. And when we get done towards the end, we're going to take a picture of you because I'm assuming this is similar to some of the other, that's another really good
That is
before and
great.
after, that the scale may not change as much.
Well, that is always possible, right?
Yes.
Because we're always fluctuating. I know one thing that Larry Yeller doing in the office is the full
Yep.
body
Scanning. And that's one of the things I wanted to bring up. Every single one of those pictures is amazing. Regardless of what you do, patients will forget where they started.
Of course.
So that's why I always like to bring up when practitioners are doing this, that if you do not have the fancy devices like we do for 3D body scanning, that is extremely precise at measurements, that will compare the two and actually show the changes in inches or centimeters, that you need to, whatever that pair of pants is, the outfit, the bikini, you know that there's something that they have that they
That
have not
one
been able to
thing,
wear.
yes.
And they
The
put it
skinny
on,
jeans.
and every single time they go to wear it, they take it right back off. Make
Yep.
them bring that in and take a photo of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And precision of the before and after as well. Same lighting, same
Yep.
wall, same
Yes.
room. That's right.
Yes, all of that is extremely important because the number one thing that I tell my body contouring patients is there's a good chance the scale will not change.
Sure.
So even if we're talking about 21 to 25% fat reduction,
Yep.
that's the fat reduction in the area that we're treating, not fat overall. So that doesn't mean you're going to lose 20% of your body weight.
Well,
you may lose a
wow.
pound or you may
Right.
lose nothing.
Right.
I've seen people lose nothing but lose 3 inches with,
Right.
other devices where it's like if they didn't necessarily need to lose weight, but if you lose 3 inches around your abdomen and all of a sudden now you're 2 belt sizes smaller.
What's
You're
the problem?
Yeah, get off the scale at that point.
Yes.
At that point, you're like,
Yes.
this is amazing.
Yeah. Yes,
So-
exactly.
I did it with one patient, and where I had to bring in her clothes, her jeans, very expensive jeans, could not fit in them. I mean, it was like just killing herself to try to get into them. And then we did a series of treatments on her, put them on, snapped them up, and you could just pull them right off.
Oh, love
Yeah.
it.
And so, of course, that to her, that was no photo would have done that.
No,
Sure.
no.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
that's
a great point.
it's emotional. So I think it's just finding what will work. I think if people are larger and like me, I need to lose a little weight.
And I'm not challenging you this year to a weight loss competition because last year I gained weight purposely to prove that I could beat him in a weight loss competition. And although I beat him,
She
not
has
just
to
beat
go-
him,
she always has to
I
go-
killed him in this competition.
You don't want to do that again.
No, it was hard. It was so hard. Now that I'm in my 40s, oh my goodness, trying to lose weight, I was like, this was a mistake.
Yeah, see, I was at a disadvantage because I'm quite a bit older. You know,
Oh,
so
you
it's just,
no.
Oh, but he's a man.
They stack-
That's easier.
He only, so this is it. I'm at a table full of men.
Yes.
They stacked the odds against me.
Yeah.
He had to lose 5 pounds. I had to lose 8. That was
Oh.
the competition.
It sounds even Stevens to me with all the things, the age, the maybe
Yeah.
some a little worse.
but yeah, anyway.
I lost 15 and he gained 4.
Dr. Ann shamed him.
Yeah, let's just say the ones who stacked the odds in his favor were very disappointed. They were like, I can't, they were just lucky they didn't bet money on you because they all would have been pretty pissed.
Another time.
Yeah. But this year, I'm not gaining the weight because I don't want to have to lose it again.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to go down that. I am not eating for the holidays. I'm eating normal,
Good.
instead of going into that.
Keep it slow and steady. Yeah.
But I know a lot of people will. And so for us, this is where, as this is our new device that we launched at our Black Friday event, it's going to be an excellent marketing opportunity for us when we enter into the new year. That's what I'm excited for, is getting this on our social media.
Yep.
So the
100%.
second we hit January 1st, all people are going to see is this robotic arm killing fat on stomachs, and everybody's like, I want that.
100%. Because
give it to me.
I mean, we all know that the gym memberships, everything goes up in January. That's great. But what a great way to really kickstart that as well. Everybody could use a little bit of help. Combination.
Yep.
Doing the right thing in your lifestyle and then some
Yes.
treatments. That's right.
So all of you offices out there that are looking at the end of the year, Section 179,
That's right.
I mean, take advantage of it. Now would be a good time to look at technology for next year, and that's kind of what we did. And you need to see where you are. Of course, it needs to make sense for you. But if you don't have technology, or you have limited technology for body contouring, this is going to end up doing the whole body.
Yes.
And you're not going to have to do it. That it's really nice, and the robot is never going to complain. It doesn't take days off. It's not, all those things. You see, you're going to push the button. It's going to do its thing, and every 20 minutes you're going to push a button. You're just going to go from area to area, and I think it's the future.
Yes,
It
I do
is.
too. I'm almost convinced actually that it will be the future. It's the new kid on the block. It's effective. It's easy. It's comfortable. I mean, it doesn't quite get any better than that. So
No.
I understand 4 systems were sold at a recent event that you
Yep.
had this weekend, so that's good.
Well, and it's funny. It was a couple of years ago. I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. My husband was reading some study, and it was something like by the year 2028, we would all have, AI or robots in our house.
Oh.
Like
Yeah.
we would be living,
Well,
as they were
starts in
starting to
your
come
office.
out with the first one. And then, like a year and a half into it, I was like, well, duh, we already have a robot. I have one
Yeah.
of those little vacuum guys.
that's right. Yeah.
What do you call
that
them?
counts.
Yeah,
what
we
the
have one in our office.
A Roomba.
Yes.
Yeah, Roomba,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes. I'm like, I totally forgot the name, even though I run it all the time. So he's like, we already have one, so we're already one of those people. But then when this fat device came out and it's a robot, and I was like, wow, I could see lots of, famous people or wealthy people being like, I would like to purchase one of those for my house.
Absolutely.
Have it
Wouldn't
just in
you?
there. So when they
Yeah.
need to do their little body touch-ups, it's like, why not have the robot in your house that kills your fat?
Sure. That'd be good. That's the dream.
I could think of some famous people out there that would like to have one of these in their home.
I know. Well,
They have other technologies, so why not?
right.
I know.
That's right.
Why not add the robot to the bunch?
Yep, I hear you. Well, we're excited about the technology, and I think it's going to be good for our patients. I think it's going to be really good for our practice, and it fits well. Like you say, it plays well in the sandbox with other pieces of equipment, and I think it's a fit nowadays because, again, we're all limited in time, you know. And there, you can always get a deal. Just work, you work with, let's do this or let's do this combination or do something. You can work out the price points, but I think it's something that's going to be so valuable for patients moving forward because no one has the time. I mean, to take a couple belt sizes off, seriously, how long does it take you to do that? And, you go in, you lay down, and the robot does it for you. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then you combine it with other technology and you get even more, and you can get sculpted abs and you can get all kinds of stuff at the same time. So this is win-win. It's the new direction. I think we're going to be seeing more of this kind of technology coming out. And we're about to do a podcast wrapping up the whole year. But I think what we're going to be seeing in 23, 24, 25 is a lot more of this type of technology.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah,
And,
it is.
I didn't want to get too much into them because I feel like it gets a little too scientific, but there are quite a few impressive studies out there and papers that have been published.
That's right.
If there's physicians that are interested in knowing more, do you guys have websites where they can look that up?
We do. It's Dominion Aesthetic. And also, best would be to call and get in touch with their local rep. And then they can give you all those clinical studies, scientific studies that they would like.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And for the patient side, because obviously we showed some before and afters, but there's a lot of impressive ones out there. Is there a good website for them to seek, like if they're wanting to look more about the technology or even find a practitioner?
Yes, I would go to Instagram.
Okay.
So that is a wealth of knowledge. They put a ton of information there as well as photos and more photos as well, like from what's coming in other clinics and people producing those for us. So that's a really great place to start.
And if they were on Instagram as a patient and message you guys to find a practitioner in their area, somebody would respond to them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. I always like to put that out there
Yes.
because sometimes patients listen to this and they're like, I want to know more, and they don't know where to go.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect lead way for them into it.
Yes, our Instagram is highly monitored, and all of the reps have Instagrams too. So if you just put Eon in there, someone's name will pop up and they will absolutely get you the right place. And then, of course, there's the big corporate one.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That's what our listeners always want to know is sometimes where can they find more information?
Yeah.
It's winter. It's nice in Arizona, so you can always fly out here and see us.
Yes.
Yes, you can.
We're happy to
Love to
hook
do
you
a
up.
demo too.
We have beautiful weather. As I know, the Northeast is having their issues. The Southeast is full of rain. And even though we had some rain this weekend, we had Arizona rain, which is easy peasy.
Wasn't
and
bad.
it is beautiful and sunny, and it's going to be great weather the rest of the week.
I called my brother, 9 degrees in Sioux
Oh
Falls.
my gosh.
It was
And what are
like-
we here today, like
it's so-
65?
Yeah, 65.
Yeah,
I think it
65
was
is
60 when I
beautiful.
got up, so it was nice.
Yeah.
It's a good day.
It was a little foggy this morning.
It was kind of fun.
In fact, I didn't even recognize the symbol on the Weather Channel app when I tried to look. I said, what does that mean? We never get fog. What does that mean? I had to look it up. Silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be in San Francisco or
Right.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was good. Well, good. Well, I think that kind of wraps us up to the end.
great.
Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you would like the listeners to know about?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
we covered everything. Yeah.
Perfect. And Larry, any last words of advice for our listeners today?
I think pay attention to the technologies that are out there because a lot of people are still doing cool sculpting, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. I think there are great options, this being one of them. Find an office that has something like this. Give this a try because I think you're going to find that you get a better overall outcome. And I'm just giving you my opinion, but we've seen patients for too long that didn't quite come out right, and I think you'll find this to be a device that's really of benefit. So.
Yeah.
Well, one thing we didn't cover actually is our patient satisfaction rate is 97%, with 96% of them saying that they would come and pay to do it again.
That's
so,
great.
I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but comparing to other devices out there, that's pretty astronomical
Yeah, well,
difference.
96% say they'll do it again.
Yeah, that's big.
And pay to do it again. That's a really good number.
Yes.
That is.
That's
Yeah.
high.
Good.
Very good.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
thank you for having me. I had
Yes.
a great time.
Thank you for joining us. And thank you to all of our listeners who joined us. And we will see you guys next time.